Trout routes combine stream maps and river data to help you find fishing access faster. Be confident on the water with fishing access points, real-time stream gauges, and public access, now brought to you by Onyx Maps. Whether you're looking for blue lines, gold medal rivers, or something new in your backyard, Trout Routes has the data to get you on the water fast. Destination Angler podcast listeners can try 1 month of Trout Routes Pro for free by clicking on the link in the episode description. Do what I do and put more access in your hands and explore the water you love with Trout Routes today. This week on the Destination Angler.
So like Pine Creek has a lot of like slate ledges in here and big boulders. So you definitely got to know like a lot of those fish like to tuck themselves underneath the slate ledges. They like to be right behind the boulders. I find a lot of bigger ones behind the boulders. So you primarily got to break that down. And Pine Creek, it's such a big, I'm going to call it a river because that's what pretty much it is, even though we call it creek. You could walk out in that, and if you're fishing in like a foot of water, sometimes you might catch a fish, but primarily they're going to be out there in the deeper stuff behind the structure.
And that was Ethan Albright on Big Pine Creek. Hey, if you like the show, please share it with a buddy. Welcome to the Destination Angler Podcast, the podcast for anglers who travel. And I'm your host, Steve Haigh. We go right to the source, the local guides and experts, to build your knowledge of top fishing locations around North America. It's a big world out there. Now go and fish it.
I'm going away for a while, but I'll be back soon. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey anglers, welcome back to another episode of the Destination Angler, brought to you by Got Fishing, crafting world-class fly fishing adventures specially designed to your level of experience and budget. By High and Dry Fishing, where science and performance meet, and by Trout Routes. Coming up on the Destination Angler, we're headed to Lake Superior for giant coaster brook trout with author Jerry Darkus. Then we head back to Pennsylvania into Penns Creek with Team USA champion Tess Wiegand. Be sure to backcast to catch the last episode with legendary guide and industry icon Jack Dennis, who shares a lifetime of stories from Tasmania to Jackson Hole and everywhere in between. Jack has guided everyone from President Ford and Harrison Ford to Denny Crum and John Wooden, not to mention half of Hollywood. You won't want to miss these shows. And now when you sign up for my newsletter on the Destination Angler website, you get 3 months of Trout Routes free for first-time subscribers. Hey, if you'd like to reach thousands of hardcore fly anglers with your message, drop me a DM and we'll talk. So what's it like to live in a town where the trout outnumber the people, and the nearest Walmart is an hour away, and the trout streams outnumber the towns? And what happens when you mix rattlesnakes, stargazing, and triple-digit fish days in the same valley? Well, today our destination is Pennsylvania's Big Pine Creek country with expert fly angler and guide Ethan Albright, a reformed diesel mechanic who traded wrenches for fly rods from Slate Run Tackle Shop. In addition to all the great info you're going to get on this area, stick around for some stories of black bears and Boy Scouts, face plants and floating hats, and porcupine quill flies and 25-inch brown trout. Yeah, buddy, it's good fishing up this way. And as a bonus, we have a great story from a listener from Birmingham, Alabama, who shares a close encounter on a recent trip to Alaska. Let's dive in. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. And we have got a really great show for you today. Our destination on this one is Big Pine Creek in north central Pennsylvania. And joining me is Ethan Albright, who's the head fly fishing guide at Slate Run Tackle Shop in Slate Run, the metropolis of Slate Run, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, Ethan.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, all right, doing my homework on this spot. This is you guys are in the heart of Pennsylvania's Pine Creek Valley. I read it's one of the most beautiful and remote places in all of Pennsylvania. Does that sound about right?
Yep, that sounds about right to me. Yeah, I fell in love with it as a kid, and I moved up here about 6 years ago, and I'm never looking back. So,
wow. No, okay. I want to talk about what you like about remote spots. But anyway, I think this area is kind of in the Pennsylvania Wilds area. Do I have that right?
Yep, we're in the PA Wilds area. So I think that basically got started up in like the Wellsboro area, which is maybe like an hour from us.
Okay.
Yeah, it covers a lot of land around this area. So yeah, I'm happy to be living in it.
And you guys are pretty much surrounded by state forest, and you're kind of in a bit of a gorge. Is that
Yep.
correct?
I am pretty much, at the bottom of the gorge right now. But yeah, a lot of state forest around me, a lot of wildlife, and not so many. I think I'm in Brown Township, and I'm one of the locals that live here. I believe there's only 68 other locals that live.
6 or 60?
68.
Oh, 68. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I just did a show in Craig, Montana. And so you're even bigger than Craig, Montana, which is, I think,
nice. All
47.
right,
So,
we're on the map then.
hey, man, these small towns are the lifeblood of fly fishing, in my opinion.
Hmm.
All right. So, Ethan started fly fishing at the age of 12, has been guiding there since 2019. He sent me his bio. He says he loves tightline nymphing, anything subsurface. Sounds like a Pennsylvania angler, but mostly loves teaching people how to read the water, connect with lots of trout, showing them around this beautiful valley in Pennsylvania. He gets to call home. And as I was kind of doing my research on this area, it seems like a really interesting part of the state because it's so far removed from any major towns. In fact, so this is what I read, Ethan, that this part of the state has a population density of 5 people per square mile.
Yes, that is correct.
5 people. Man. So this sounds like a really good place to go hunting with a high-powered rifle, man. You're not going to be hitting anybody unless you do something really stupid.
For sure. Yeah, we got a lot of long range hunters around here. And so right now, like we're kind of in like our tourist time that pretty much starts in April and goes until the end of like fall here. And then we do get
Yeah.
hunters that come up, but that's not as big as what it once was. At least that's what I heard. But yeah, come wintertime, it is very quiet and peaceful around here. If you like hunting, I mean, there's a lot of state game land that you can hunt around here, and it's it's pretty peaceful.
Did you have an elk herd up there?
So that is in Benazet. That is maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours away from me.
Okay.
But yeah, if you stay in the area, I think you have to draw a tag to get there. I do
I'll
believe. I'm
bet.
not a big
Yeah.
hunter, but yeah, a lot of people come up here for that.
Yeah, because I did hear that Pennsylvania has an elk herd. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Okay, the other thing I read is this town of Slate Run. It's actually it's not a town with a measured population. It's more like a settlement. Does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah. So I was talking to the old owner the other day, and when he started the general store with his wife, I believe there were 17 people that lived in this area, and now
Yeah.
it's only grown to almost 70 people. So it's not really a big. I mean, there's us, the general store, and the fly shop, and then there's a hotel and a bar and grill behind me, and that's pretty much it.
What
So
else do you need? And a trout stream.
absolutely, that's all you
What?
need in life.
I mean, I don't blame you. It sounds like a
Yeah,
great place to live. If I can just convince my wife that that
there
sounds
you
like a
go.
great place to live, which I won't be able to do. So by Pennsylvania standards, Slate Run, I would say, is among the most remote, lightly populated, areas you can find in the state of Pennsylvania. So I gotta believe there's some good trout fishing in this part of the state.
Oh, for sure.
So you moved here like on purpose. So what is it that you like about being remote? Is it like a lifestyle thing or like where's your nearest Walmart?
The nearest Walmart is about an hour away.
An
Um,
hour.
yeah, so if you have to do grocery shopping or anything like that, you're pretty much taking a day to go down into town and pick up everything. But it's just, I grew up just on the outskirts of Reading, Pennsylvania, if people are familiar with that, kind of towards
Yeah.
like the area. And I did that for years, and I don't know. I don't like being in traffic, being around all that people pretty much. And this area, we came up here since I was a little kid for vacation, and I fell in love with it. And when I finally got the chance to move up here, I did.
Okay. Sounds awesome. So does Amazon deliver same day?
It's not the same day, but actually, depending on what you get, you can get it within like 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3. Okay. That's not bad.
It's not
I mean,
terrible.
it's a good trade-off, to
Yeah,
live where
they
you
stepped
are.
up their game. Yeah, when I first moved up here, it was about like a week or 2 weeks till you finally got something from them. So they're getting better.
So what do you do when you're not fishing and not working the fly shop and not guiding? Like what do you do in that town for
Well,
fun?
I really started getting into hiking. There's so many just hiking trails in this area, and then right out back of where I live, there is a bike trail that is, I want to say, almost 70 miles long that goes along the creek. So I did buy a mountain bike, getting into that.
Cool.
I'm an amateur golfer. I am not very good, but it is something to kill the time and yeah, hang out with my friends doing that.
Wait, there's a golf course up there?
There is once again, you got to drive. The closest one is maybe a little over an hour away.
You got to go an hour. Okay, well, that's all right.
Yeah,
So much for the driving range after work, huh?
yeah. Well, you could tee it off in the mountains if you wanted to go that route. I mean, there's
You
not too many,
could.
so you're not going to hit anybody.
You lose a lot of balls doing that, though. On
Yeah,
most of
that is true.
which is what I do when I play golf, which I don't do anymore because I used to lose too many balls. So when you're hiking, like how's the snake population doing?
So if you come up here from like the end of May, it all depends too, but like usually the end of May, yeah, June, July, August, it gets pretty snaky up here.
Yeah,
A lot of rattlesnakes up on the mountains. So yeah, you definitely got to watch, bring a stick with you. If you have a dog, make sure you have it on a leash.
that's serious. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. If they rattle, at least they're letting me know where they're at and then I can get away from them.
yeah. Oh my gosh. And the other thing about this part of the state is I read this thing about it being a dark skies area. What's the story with that?
Yeah, so that is Cherry Springs State Park. So from here, it's maybe like 35, 40 minutes. It is the darkest spot on the whole East Coast. I did Google that just to make sure before I hit you with that knowledge. But yeah, people, I mean, I've gone up there a couple times and it is, if you definitely have time to take out of your life to take a trip up in this area, that would definitely be something I want to see because you could see every star and oh, it is beautiful.
So stargazing, that's what people are doing.
Yes. So there's Airbnbs up there. I mean, there's towers that people can bring their telescopes up in and everything like that. It's
Wow.
beautiful.
And so because you're so far away from any cities, you just don't get that light pollution and the air is pretty clean. Is that kind of what goes into
Yeah,
it?
there's so that is the one thing. It's the light pollution. There's not much of it up there. So it's kind of near like Coudersport, but you got to drive like another 15, 20 miles to get to like the nearest town from there. So
Nice.
and I want to say the elevation at the top of where you're pretty much stargazing is just over 2,000 feet. So,
Okay. And so you just need to pick a clear night, obviously, and then you're
yes.
golden. Yeah,
Yep.
cool. Well, all right, so we're kind of getting into why this area is such an amazing place for fly anglers who want to get away from the crowds. But hey, your website calls this area fly fishing utopia. So why give us the headline? Why is it fly fishing utopia?
So it's awesome for the dry fly angler just because there's a lot of just deep flats that, I mean, when you get late April, May, and June, I mean, we have so many hatches up here that, I mean, you can get into a ton of fish. And then we have a catch and release stretch out behind us that's 3 miles long. There's a bunch of tributaries that are fly fishing only or artificial lure. Little Pine Creek, that is a delayed harvest section down there. If you go up in the Wellsboro area, like I said, it's about an hour away. They have a delayed harvest section up there. And I believe Upper Pine Creek Outfitters has a delayed harvest section up there in like the Ansonia area, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But just a lot of water that you can cover, a lot of tributaries. And I mean, if you stayed in this area, there's Kettle Creek, which that's a Class A brook trout stream. That's about 30 minutes away from us. Little Pine has wilds in it too. It also does get stocked. But if you do stay up in this area, if you wanted to go to Penns Creek, Fishing Creek, Spring Creek, you're really only about an hour and a half away. So
Oh,
it's not too
okay.
far to drive.
Just north of you guys are just north of that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, and the Allegheny starts up here, right?
The Allegheny does. I have yet to fish that, but you're not too far away from that either from here.
Okay. And I was looking on my Trout Routes app just to see what the gold medal streams are. So Kettle, Allegheny, and then the first fork of the Cinnamahonig. Do I have that right?
It's Cinnamahoney.
Cinnamahoning.
Yeah. You were close.
Pretty close. That's a mouthful. How's the fishing there?
Fishing's pretty good there. That is, I fished it a long time ago, but it was fun to do that. It's just I kind of get spoiled living right here, and so I actually live in the core here. So Pine
Yeah.
Creek is my backyard, Slate Run, Cedar Run. So it's hard to leave this area.
So we're going to get into Big Pine Creek. What are some of the other streams that anglers should pay attention? Can you give us the lowdown on some of these? What would you say?
You definitely, I mean, Big Pine is a must. Little Pine Creek is about 20 minutes away from me. That is a tributary that dumps into Big Pine. Yeah, that is very good. That's usually if I'm having a slower day guiding on Big Pine, I'll take them down there. And it's not so crowded as what this area draws in with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, right behind us, Slate Run is an awesome wild trout stream tributary that dumps into Pine Creek. That
Okay.
is about 7 miles long. You got to do a bunch of bushwhacking to get into it, but it's a beautiful stream. And then you have Cedar Run, which is about 5 miles up from Slate Run. And that's another
Okay.
stream that I would say is about 6 miles.
Here's Brian Oakland, founder of Got Fishing.
There's really no reason for an angler not to use Got Fishing when everything we do for you is free. We have the best trips around the world. We only work with the best outfitters, and we're definitely going to get you the best deal and the best dates guaranteed. That's why we have clients come back time and time again. We have Don with us on this trip. This has been his 6th fishing adventure with Got Fishing, and I think if you asked him, it is because of all the little things. We don't tell people, we ask questions. What is it that you're looking for? What would be most important to you? Who's coming with you? What's your experience level? And really at the end of the day, what is the most important aspect of this experience that you're looking to take home? And then from there, we just marry them up with some of the best lodges, let them take a look at 2 or 3 different options and pick what's going to be best for them.
Well, there you have it, folks. A pretty good case for choosing Got Fishing for your next big adventure. So what are you waiting for? Give Brian a shout or visit gotfishing.com. I first came across liquid fly dip floatants years ago when guides were mixing their own brews with lighter fluid and mucilin wax. You know, it worked, but you had to wonder, what's it doing to the river? Recently, I tried some store-bought brands. One left a white crust on my fly, another left an oil slick in the water. Not good. No way I'm using that stuff. Then I found High and Dry, and let me tell you, this stuff is a game changer. It's built by scientists who actually fly fish, and it shows. Your fly floats like a cork, looks natural, and it's 100% environmentally friendly. No film, no gunk, no gilt. And their floatants work in any condition, from blazing heat to freezing cold. In my opinion, these are the best performing, most innovative floatants on the market today, hands down. So check out the full lineup of liquid floatants, line dressings, and cider waxes at highanddryfishingproducts.com. Your fly and the fish will thank you. So Slate Run, tell me more about that. What's the water like there? Like how big is it? Gradient? Give me a little rundown.
It's just your classic native stream. It may be like 15 to 20 yards wide in some spots,
Okay.
and then a lot of overhang. But yeah, you can catch some browns and brookies up there. The largest brown I've ever seen, and of course I didn't catch it, a client did, that pulled out of there was around 20 inches.
Nice, really?
Yeah. And then there's, a bunch of brookies if you get up in the higher section. And then, the lower section is more so browns, but you do run into brookies down there as well.
Okay. Cedar Run, what's that like?
Cedar Run, I feel like, is more brown trout. I have yet to catch something big in there, but I've seen pictures of trout that were well over 20 inches. But yeah,
Wow.
I kind of keep it between the mid, like maybe 15, 16 is my largest one in there. I've spooked a bunch. When the water gets low, I try to sneak up on them. But yeah, that's another beautiful stream. A little tighter than Slate Run, but.
So you guys run into some water temp issues like a lot of trout streams do, right? This in late summer, is that right?
Yeah. So Slate Run and Cedar Run are spring fed, but Pine Creek is freestone. So right now we are in a very, very terrible drought where the CFS
really?
that I normally like, we haven't had rain since pretty much the beginning of June, which is kind of depressing. There's still a ton of fish out there, which is cool to see, but so normal like CFS or like feet, like I like to have it around 2.5 feet or like just a little over like 1,000 to 1,000 CFS, and right now the CFS is at 50.
At 50?
So, yeah,
really?
It is.
Wow.
It is dry up here. Yeah, we're hoping and praying for rain, but it just hasn't come yet.
Wow. Okay, so 1 to 10, because it looked like a really good sized stream. I wasn't expecting that when I started looking into this. It, super wide. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's normally like? Like how wide is it? And
we call it Pine Creek, but it's more of a river. I would say some spots are about like 50 yards wide.
Yeah.
And then in April, May, and early June, I mean, you could see drift boats floating down through it. It's an awesome stream when the water is up and flowing pretty good. But yeah, we're just in a hard time right now. So hoping for rain.
50. So are the temps, because do you not want to fish there right now because of water temps, or how's it doing?
We're getting cooler nights. So last night it felt like I thought it was going to snow. It got down to about 40 degrees, which is weird for this time of year.
Really?
But the water temps are like in the low 60s. So you definitely could fish it if you wanted to. It's just, it's kind of hard. Where there's normally riffles of fast moving water, it's pretty much just flat, calm water right now. So,
Oh, it is. Interesting. Okay. Don't you wonder with these trout when it goes from 1,000 down to 50, are they moving? Do you think they're traveling miles and miles to find deeper water? Do you think they're just hunkering down in those little runs?
definitely not. So they get themselves in front of. So there's like plenty of underground springs, and there's a bunch of feeder streams that dump into it too that they can hold in front of for like the summertime. And now
Yeah.
since it's so low, they definitely made it through. I see a lot of fish. We didn't have like a huge fish kill this year, which surprising. It should have been with how low it got, but
Yeah.
they can move. They're just not going to travel too far from pretty much where they've been sitting for
Is
most of
that
the
right?
summer.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, kind of give us the lay of the land. Like, how long is Pine Creek? And we kind of talked about how wide it is. Give us a little bit more kind of from top to bottom. Like, where could anglers start at the top and how far down would you go?
So you can go all the way up to pretty much Wellsboro. So it is a tributary off the west branch of the Susquehanna.
Okay.
Pine Creek is a little over 80 miles long. So I'm trying to think. I don't fish too much up at the top, but I believe you can go up in like the Ansonia area and start, and you can go all the way down to where it dumps into the Susquehanna down to like the Jersey Shore area. So there's plenty of public access and parking. They don't really stock it too much below Little Pine Creek, and that's about maybe 20 miles down from us. But fish swim. That's what I tell everybody all the time. So, I mean, you definitely can run into trout and stuff down that way as well.
Okay. All right, cool. So, wow, that's a lot of water. And it's
Yeah.
it's it's gold medal for a good portion of that too, I noticed.
Oh, yeah. So we do the 3 mile stretch, but where the state stocks, they do from Little Pine all the way up to Blackwell, and then they stop there, and then it's kind of weird. The road veers away from the creek, and you think you lost the creek, and then you come back into it once you hit Wellsboro, which is
Yeah.
maybe a 10-15 mile drive. You're just like, oh, I don't see a creek, and then boom, you're right back to it.
Okay.
And then they do stock it up there as well.
So when the river leaves the road like that, do you have to kind of bushwhack to get back into sections? Like how's access up there?
So if you are comfortable with riding a bike, the bike trail or the rail trail that follows the creek pretty much follows it all the way up. So other than pretty much a bike, or if you start at the top with a boat, there's really no other way of accessing it.
Huh.
There are like a couple dirt roads that take you off that you can get there, but it's not a lot.
Okay. And is it all public land along the river or do you have to look out for some public or some private property?
There are some private, but most of it is public.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But just bring a bike. And you're talking miles and miles of bike trail?
The bike trail, I wrote
Like
it
along
down.
the river, I mean. Like how many miles does the bike trail cover on the river? Miles and miles or?
It pretty much follows the whole creek. So it was the old railroad system back in the day. They turned it over to a bike trail.
Nice.
But it is, so the rail trail is 65 miles long. So it stops at Wellsboro, and well, it starts at Wellsboro, ends at Jersey Shore. But if you go upstream, then you'd end at Wellsboro. But then you have like main roads up there, like that take in Ansonia and everything.
Okay. Okay. So access sounds really good.
Yeah,
So like how well can you do? What's a typical day?
I'll give you some of my slow days because I don't want to fill you in on my great days. You can usually, I mean, if you're catching under 10, I mean, you're not really having that great of a day.
Yeah.
But it all depends. Like if you get a super sunny blue sky day, I mean, it does get rough out there because there's not a lot of like tree overhang or anything. It's just pretty much wide open. So the fish aren't going to be active. But yeah, I've had some really good days this year that me and the other guides that were doing float trips together, we called up in the, triple digits. So it was,
Triple digits.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow. Are these all mostly state stockers or are you getting some wild trout in there too?
So you do. So like Babs Creek is a big tributary that dumps into it. And then Slate and Cedar, you do have wild fish swim out, but most of them are state stocked. And then the fish that we stock as well.
Okay. So your store actually stocks fish.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's called the Brown Trout Club. It started in the early 2000s. I talked to the old owner, Tom Finkbeiner, that owned it for about 45 years, but it started as he was raffling off fly rods to raise money to stock his own fish. And now it grew into something where we got donations from the farthest away was Texas, California, and I had people from Canada donate into us this year. So it was pretty
Really?
cool.
They donate money, and then you guys go stock fish with the money.
Yeah. So we do you can donate whatever you want, but we do like buttons for the Brown Trout Club. And then we also do license plates, which actually I have one right behind me if you don't
Let's
mind
see
me
it.
showing.
Yeah, man. Let's see it.
But this is the license plate for this year.
Really? You guys have what? You guys got a license plate from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you're darn right.
That is cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's something that started as kind of just stocking a couple fish to we do 2 in the spring stocking, and we usually do between 800 fish, or like 7 to 800, and then we do 1 in the fall as well.
Oh, you did? And you putting some big ones in there? What size?
So the smallest are around 15, and the largest we go up to are mid-20s.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we get him from a hatchery in the Poconos that's called Blooming Grove, and yeah, he's a great guy. And yeah, if you saw the pictures that I sent to you, they kind of look like a wild fish, and I have a bunch of people come into the shop that say, "Look at this wild brown that I caught," and I don't have the heart to tell them that it's not wild. So, oh, great job! Yeah, they're the fish that we stock.
Man, all right. And what are your catch and release rules on this stretch? Can you keep them, or do you hopefully they put them
No,
back?
so it's catch and release all year long. You do have to put them back, but to make it
Good.
nice for everybody to fish, it is all bait and tackle.
Okay.
And it does make me happy when a little kid comes in and shows me a picture. It stinks that I do see a big night crawler in its mouth or something during the picture, but at the same time, seeing their smile on their face, that makes me happy.
Hey man, you got to make do. When you're
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere like that, it's like that's a guy who could walk in your shop and spend some money. I'm guessing, right? Even though they're using worms.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now I see you got a bunch of fly fishing line behind you, so I'm assuming the shop kind of specializes in fly fishing. Is that right?
Yeah, so we do have a little spinning section, which it is a very, very tiny over in the corner. But yeah, we're an Orvis dealer. That happened, I want to say it's been an Orvis dealer now for about 50 years. And we are trying to branch out. So like this year, we're going to bring in corkers and different stuff for like boots. But yeah, it's primarily an Orvis fly shop.
Oh, very good. Very good. How long's the shop been around?
The shop started in 1947 as just a little general store. And then in the late 70s, they added on a fly shop. And then it became an Orvis dealer in the late 70s when people from Vermont came down and fished in this area that worked at Orvis. And so they needed to start an Orvis dealer up here. And then one thing led to another, and here we are today.
No kidding. So the Orvis folks have been there, huh? They're like, man, you guys need to sell our stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the Orvis guys have been here.
Man, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, back to these fish you're stocking. How much, what does a 25-inch brown trout cost from a hatchery?
Anywhere between $50 and $60. It all depends how it looks, the coloring, and everything like that.
50 to 60 bucks.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So I bet you just put a few of those in there. That could get expensive.
It does. It all depends. I mean, we get awesome donations throughout the year, so I can't thank people enough. But we try, like each stocking, we try to keep it around like 30 to 40, and then the rest of them are between 15 and 20. But yeah, we do put some big boys out there, which that's another cool thing. We usually post about it we have like newsletters that go out in the email and then social media. And it's cool to see how many kids and just pretty much adults come out and take pictures with fish when they're stocking them. That's pretty neat.
Do these guys, do they hold over okay?
They do. So right now, with how low it is, if you go in front of each tributary or you got to know where the underground springs are, thank goodness not a lot of people do because they probably go in there and snag them.
That's why they need to hire you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they're holding pretty good with how low the creek still is. So
okay,
it's awesome to see.
You've got some holdovers. You got some fish that have kind of been in there for maybe a couple of years, you think?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, quite a few that I caught this year, just with how big they were looking. Well, I'm out there on every stock, and so I know that they're not fish that we just put in.
Yeah.
And just in like the areas that they are, because I mean, we do a lot of trips. Like we like to float down about maybe 10 miles up, and we did a trip the day after we stocked, and we ran into one up there that was in its mid-20s. And I mean, the colors on it were beautiful. And if it
Wow.
truly was a fish that we stocked, that sucker just dumped in the water and just shot straight up. So,
It's like, I'm out of here. I've been waiting for this
yeah.
day all my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Freedom. No kid. Well, they say trout move a lot. I remember talking to some guys out in Jackson Hole that said that those cutthroat trout can move like 8 miles. It's
Oh,
not
really?
uncommon. Oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
they'll clear out of one of those snake tributaries and swim into another one that's got better conditions, and yeah, they move a lot. But
Okay.
I don't know about.
When we do stock them, I mean, you do see some of them just as soon as you pretty much put the bucket in the water, they're gone. And some of them do stick around. But for where we were on that float, it was just, if it was one that we stocked, I'm impressed that he got all the way up there. But
Wow.
we do have holdovers and underground springs that they can hold in for years around here.
And so, how long does it take for a big trout, like say a 20 incher that you stock? How long does it take before it starts really behaving like a wild fish, or does it ever? I mean, truthfully, just between you and me.
I always say a brown trout that you first put in the water, I mean, you can hook him a couple times and then that fish is going to get pretty smart on what he's.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making fun of the flies at all. People use them all the time, but like squirmy wormies, mop flies, I mean, you can use them for a certain amount of time, but then that fish is going to be like, all right, that's not real to me.
I just got
And
educated. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And you do get picky ones out here where you could have the nicest hatch of whatever going on. And if you throw just the wrong presentation, you'll see it come up, look at it, and just go right back down. So
Okay. Huh. See, let's say you stock. Did you say in the spring? You stock them in the spring?
we stock twice in the spring and we do one in the fall.
Twice. So, because I've found like stock trout, they just don't fight as good, and it's very different. Like they sort of just flop around a little bit. But I'm wondering, like, if they're in a trout stream, a wild trout stream like this, if they might, become more wild faster. So, do you find that these fish are making some big screaming runs and whatnot, like a wild fish, or?
They do. Yeah, these fish, if you do not know how to fight a fish properly, they will run you all over this creek. And
Is that
like I
right?
said, it's
Really?
pretty well
Huh.
known that I've seen a
Okay.
couple people this year that it's comical to watch them, but at the same time, when they get it in, you're pumped for them. But yeah,
Right.
these fish run
Right.
all over the place, so it's cool to see.
But that's really cool though. So there's this area is it 2.8 miles? To have that right? This little stretch.
Yes. So our stretch that we do that's catch and release only is 2.8 miles. We're hoping to extend in the future, but yeah, you got to work with the Fish and Boat Commission and everything like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they want to know what you're doing. You can't just show up with a bunch of fish and dump them in a stream.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
you need to contact them beforehand.
Because I got this tiny little stream running behind my house, and I live in Indiana. So I was just tempted. Can I put like 50 trout in there? Just maybe they'd stick around for a month. I don't know.
Maybe
And
your skill, if you try that in PA, I promise you, they will they will find you and get you. So
they will, yeah, they'll hunt you down, huh? Yeah, no, I
yeah.
wouldn't do it without checking, but yeah, I don't know how much harm could a trout do that's going to die by the time June comes around. I don't know.
I
Eat a
guess
bunch of
that is
chugs.
true, yeah, but yeah, they're really cracking down on it. They want to know like where the fish are coming from, what hatcheries in this area.
Really?
So yeah, ours is very good.
That's really cool that you guys do that. And can anybody fish the stretch?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people think it's just the donation part, which it's not. Yeah, you could drive up here for the day, fish it, enjoy it, and if you do donate, great. But if not, then yeah, so be it. But there is plenty of access, so you can fish pretty much right behind the shop here. Like I said before, there's the Hotel Manor across the street. They let you park behind the hotel. That's really good access. And then downstream a little bit, there's Tomb Flats. That was an old campground. Now it's just pretty much just a wide open area that they allow you to fish at. There's Black Walnut, which is a campground. And then it ends at Clark's Farms Access. And that's another just big parking lot down there that you can park at and jump in and fish.
Is there a weir? When you say it ends, it's just where you guys, how does it end? Is there a weir?
So that's pretty much where the state cut us off for the 2.8 mile stretch. So it starts at the mouth of Slate Run where it dumps into the creek and it goes down to, it's called Bonnell Run. That's another little wild trout stream that dumps in, and that's where it ends.
But I mean, the fish are going to be swimming all over the place, right? It's not that there's
Oh,
just
yeah.
in that. Yeah. So they escape.
Yeah, they do escape. We don't have a net up. Even if people do want to keep fish and they get upset that it's a catch and release area, that's what I say to people all the time. Fish swim. They're going to go outside of the stretch. And I've caught them as far as 15 miles upstream all the way down to about 20 miles downstream. So
Wow, that's cool. Well, that's fantastic. So do you suppose that this is a big reason that anglers are coming from all over because they know you guys are putting these big fish in there?
I think that's primarily the reason, and just this area in general. It's beautiful to see, but yeah, you got Kettle Creek, which is that wild trout stream that's about 20 minutes away from me at max. And then
Oh,
Slate
okay.
Run, Cedar Run, they're beautiful streams. But yeah, primarily I think it is the stretch that we do.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for doing that for all of us. I
Yeah,
might
no
head
problem.
out
Thanks.
there. Maybe if you get some rain, I might run out there this fall. That sounds awesome.
That'd be great. Hey, the fall and the winter time are my favorite times up here. You don't get as much of the crowd as the spring, but you get the leaves changing. And then, like I said, the winter time up here is just so stinking peaceful. It's you fish for a little bit, then you just kind of sightsee. So
Oh, really? Huh? Here's a quick story of a close encounter in Alaska from a listener that I mentioned in my intro. All right, folks. Today we have a guy named Madison Roberts joining us, and Matt and I recently met at an altar fly fishing retreat to Alaska, and man, it was awesome. Turns out Madison is also a listener, and I think he's got a few interesting stories to share. Welcome to the show, Madison.
Man, thanks for having me, Steve. This is a pleasure for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So where do you live?
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama right now. So we're in a little suburb of Birmingham called Mountain Brook for anyone that knows. But yeah, down here in the Bible Belt.
There you go, the Bible Belt. What do you do for a living? Speaking of Bibles.
I am a pastor here at Mountain Brook Presbyterian Church, sort of a second/third career kind of guy. I was a lawyer before this, and then in my 40s, weirdest midlife crisis ever, decided to move my family to seminary, and then I came back, and now I've been a pastor here for about a little over 4 years.
So you're a fly fishing parson, though, aren't you?
I mean, just like the guy in A River Runs Through It, he's a Presbyterian pastor too.
That's right. 4-count rhythm, and if John was a dry fly fisherman.
That's right. John was right.
That's right. Yeah. So hey, what'd you think of Alaska?
I mean, Steve, I would say obviously it's a fly fishing podcast, but the fishing is, at least for me, indescribable, unbelievable fishing. But I think most of that had to do with the fact that everywhere you looked in Alaska was like a Norman Rockwell painting.
You've got some a couple interesting stories that I was kind of interested in. And speaking of wildlife, did you happen to have an encounter with a bear by chance? A close encounter?
We did. All of us saw. You were around. I think every one of us saw pretty much every day bears, and these are the grizzly bears. Remember, they taught us the different type of bears, how you react. Like, so if they're black bears, black fight back, brown lay down. You want to be a little more submissive. And then if we happen to see a polar bear, it says white, good night. So you're not getting out of that. So fortunately, the brown bears were interested in the fish, but that means they would come right along where we were fishing. But typically speaking, we would have about a couple 100 yards at least, and we'd notice them, right? So when someone say bear, we'd look way down, and we had time to, maybe one last cast and get out of the way. Plenty of time. Well, the last day, there was a few of us that went to what you fished. I think the first or second day was the dolly hole for the dolly hole with you and Will. And so we, a couple of us went. One of the pastors from San Antonio, Stevie B, and then we had Aaron from Indiana. The three of us were dropped off at the dolly hole, and we were the only ones. And if you recall, this beautiful spot just sort of upriver from where we're typically fishing. But no other people were there. Is it slightly more difficult to get to?
Yeah.
Anyway, we hopped right in. Aaron, every other cast was starting to rip out these huge humpies, and we were excited. Great spot. And about 15 minutes in, Aaron, who I guess the listeners would be interested to know, is a pretty calm guy, very different than me. He's the yin to my yang. Nothing rattles him a whole lot.
Yeah.
So when he said, "Hey, Madison, there's a bear," I kind of, huh? He said, "There's a bear." And when I looked at him, the only way I could tell it was an urgent thing was his eyeballs were huge. And just like he was scared. And I started looking a couple 100 yards down. And the next thing I know, it would have been like if that bear had popped into the wind like this and said, "Hey," it was right there in our window of view. 25 feet.
That's scary.
And as that bear came along, Steve, being from Alabama, I took my bear spray. I uncocked. I took the safety off. I was ready to go.
Ready to rock.
Then we started thinking, let's play it, slow play it. Maybe he's just interested in the fish. And it turns out, thank goodness he was. But I will tell you, there was at one point where we probably could have reached out with our fly rods and touched that bear. It was us. We were in the river in a heavy current, and there was really no exit plan. And
you couldn't get back into shore.
No, I mean, because there was no way for us to circumnavigate where we were to get around the bear. Whereas, the other places you could kind of walk down the river and get up and out, not this place. And when he finally got up to Stevie B, who was a little upriver, he had a dolly on. We finally raced. I've never seen a grown man that age run about a 4 flat 40 up a hill.
Up a hill.
It was because it kind of snuck up on. That was what's crazy is they're so quiet.
Yeah.
For being so big.
So did you make eye contact with the bear?
I did make eye contact. And that was, we were taught, like, when it's brown, you want to be submissive. If you look it in the eye, it thinks you want to fight. I did not want to fight that bear. There's no chance. I mean, I didn't know. So when I looked at the bear in the eye and he kind of looked at me and acknowledged we were there, I felt like I heard him say, I'm going to eat you. And so I remembered quickly, I better look down. So I looked down, and as I look at Aaron's already down. So if you were to walk by, you would have seen 2 pastors that looked like they were praying in the middle of the water, but one with an uncocked bear spray ready to go.
Ready to go.
Down at the river. It was quite a scene. When we got out of the water, I'm not quiet often, but we were all good and quiet about 30 seconds to a minute, just like
staring at each other.
We'd seen the bears, we'd gotten kind of used to them, but this was way too close.
Yeah.
And I'd asked Aaron, I said, were you worried about dying? And he said, no, not really. He goes, but I was worried about like getting royally messed up, like,
really?
maybe not being able to use a lint. Like maybe it was worse. And I mean, I remember thinking, this could be it.
This could be it. Really. That went through your mind.
As soon as that, but those guys, they walked by and they just wanted the fish. But I felt like he looked at me and Aaron said, I could eat you.
Yeah, I tell you what, when the first one I saw, we knew it was coming, like you're saying. Everyone was yelling, bear, bear, bear. And it was a couple hundred yards away. Now, I wasn't the closest one to the bear. There was a photographer ahead of me. So, but right. I got a little too close. I got yelled at.
We saw you, remember? Because we were trying to be like, text you and say, Steve, and you didn't see that bear go kind of into the woods to eat that fish. And it looked like you were walking straight towards it to go join it. But thankfully, yes, you showed us the picture of that one guy who was even closer than you.
I think that guy was a lot older than me, and I think I could have outrun him. So
yes,
I felt pretty
that's
safe.
What they always said. It was like, but between Aaron and myself, clearly we weren't outrunning Stevie B. We saw him go fast.
Yeah, he was.
Between Aaron and myself, we didn't have anywhere to run.
Yeah, you were just stuck out there. So, but I felt this sense of fear and awe come over me. Like 2 things like I've never felt before. I've never felt that before. And their heads are like the size of trash can lids. Oh, they're huge.
I mean, that one we saw that one that you almost faced off with a couple of days. And I would say, I don't know, but that one was well over 1,000 pounds.
This big bear.
I mean, it was, these are not, the North Georgia bears that I'm used to.
A little different. About. All right. Now, the other thing that I remember, the way I've heard these stories from Madison folks who are listening is we found a little, brewery in town in Haines, Alaska, and go figure, I'm out with 7 pastors and 5 lay ministry leaders. And we're all end up in a pub at the end of the night, just having one beer. And then we go back and we go through some content.
To see if we could turn water into wine.
Yeah, well, if Jesus could do that, then I guess we can turn water into beer.
Right.
Okay, so I've listened to a couple of your sermons since we've been back. You do a nice job. Boy. Oh, yeah. Okay. At the Mountain Brook Presbyterian Church, they're all online. Madison's a hoot. He's a good preacher. All right, so what'd you get out of the altar trip, and what do you know about altar?
So I think what was interesting when I probably sort of begged you to be on the show, and you asked me if I was an expert, and I realized, no, I'm no Joe Humphreys or anybody like that, or even a Steve Haigh. Hey, listen, he knows what he's talking about. I'm not being funny on that. The guy's an exceptional angler.
Well, that's funny.
So a couple things is, one, it was great to be with a bunch of other folks who were really good anglers. And we had that kind of recap session.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever experienced that a whole lot, but where everybody gets to sit and share their stories and how they're fishing and what stream, how they're streaming it and how they're stripping. And it was pretty amazing to be a part of that. I don't think you get that a lot on these major fishing trips. But two, Alter kind of combines faith and ministry with fly fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes, I tell my congregants all the time, there's no such thing. I still haven't found the verse in the Bible that says we can't have fun while we do this. So that means, telling stories at the brewery, telling stories as we gather around the fire, fishing together. That sounds a lot like what Jesus was doing with his fisherman buddies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And so there's a real unique sort of link between fly fishing, not just metaphorically, but the way it makes you sort of appreciate the earth, appreciate God's creation, appreciate the time and effort it takes to go and learn how to fly fish and just all the beauty of that. So certainly got that. But I think the other part I got was just the fellowship. The older I get, Steve, the more I recognize and place a lot of value on folks who appreciate similar hobbies, I don't know if you'd call our fly fishing obsession hobby, but it's maybe more than that. But where we can come together over something we all enjoy to do and then take that into a further, deeper fellowship. Yeah. It's a non sort of cheesy way to get together. Outside of church, Jesus never really even preached in a four-wall church. His was constantly, he preached around the Sea of Galilee and he preached around the Jordan River. He was outdoors. So there's a lot, I think, we can tune into that Alter brings to the table. And they did an exceptional job. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
I loved it.
Content.
The content was excellent. And Steve Haigh, who's one of the guys that runs Alter and leads these trips, he's a retired Presbyterian pastor here in Indianapolis, and he does an outstanding job. He's just got that gravitas, and he's just very good at that.
And I thought it was unique too how we were able to combine the time with the pastors and the non-pastors, but all of whom had some sort of leadership responsibility. So one of the things that Alters, one of their core strengths of teaching is about leadership, and especially all the emotional, sort of the non-spoken about side. You can go get a book on, how the 10 best things leaders do and all the books they read, and they're helpful.
Yeah.
Learn how to do a spreadsheet, all that kind of stuff. But what I don't think gets talked about enough is the emotional toll and the emotional sort of energy and character you need to have as a leader, especially as a pastor or someone in the ministry, to deal properly with your congregants, show them that you love them. That's hard sometimes. And so Alter does a great job of tapping into that.
Yeah. So Alter takes pastors, ministry leaders, business and nonprofit leaders, and the website says, to help them read the waters of your life and gain clarity on what is or what needs to be next in your life and help you chart a course to live into those rhythms and desires. It sounds pretty good. And I saw that
real good.
They're going to Colorado, Virginia, Pennsylvania, the Driftless, a few other places yet to be announced next year in 2026. So check them out, folks. Alter Fly Fishing. Madison's great having on your show. Tight lines and everything you're doing, brother.
Amen, brother. Thanks a lot, Steve. It's good to talk to you.
All right. Sounds good.
See you.
Now back to Big Pine Creek and Ethan Albright. What is the scenery like? You're in the mountains, right? What's the scenery like?
Scenery, I mean, you're at pretty much the bottom of two mountains, like almost in a gorge right now. So either sides of you, you're just surrounded by mountains, but you get a lot of wildlife. Like it's constant that you'll see a bear crossing the stream, deer. If you go out fishing for an hour and you don't see a couple bald eagles, then I'm going to call you a liar just because they're everywhere. Yeah,
wow.
It's gorgeous up here.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you were mentioning you've taken some kids fishing. So you guide kids. Do you do that on purpose? Is that a good thing? You like doing that?
So it started as like the parents trying to have a babysitter so they can kind of get away and do their own thing. But yeah, it's it's funny to talk about, but they listen, I think, better than most adults. So if you tell them to do something, they'll pick up on it a lot quicker. And yeah, I've had quite a few kids that come back every year that, once again, it might be babysitting, but they're awesome to teach. And each year I watch them grow and grow into a better angler. And that's something that I'm super excited to see.
Maybe tell that story about that Boy Scout kid.
Yeah, no problem. So I had a kid, he needed for a Boy Scout badge he needed he needed to go out and learn how to tie knots and eventually catch a trout, which we had a very good day out there. But then he was talking about wildlife and everything, and I'm not good with the Boy Scouts, but I think one of his badges were he needed to see a bear. And he told me that in the beginning of the morning. I was like, okay, whatever, not even thinking. And we were about halfway through our day, and 20 yards downstream, there was a big old black bear that just came straight across the water, swimming downstream from
That's
us.
close.
His eyes on us the whole way down.
He was staring at you?
Yes.
Crossing and looking at you like I might
Yeah.
come back there and bring a 55-gallon drum of whoop ass up your way or something. Or...
So they're not terrible up here. If they have their cubs, then I would definitely stay away from them. But they're just by themselves. They can normally, if you yell at them, you'll spook them. But yeah, it was cool to see him. And then right where I was fishing, there was just a straight up mountain, and I watched that thing climb up that mountain. That boy's eyes were just wide as anything.
Yeah,
so that was super
that's
cool to
cool. God, when I was a kid, I was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I was camping with a bunch of 10-year-olds and some counselors, and we had bears come in our camp that night, and that was pretty frightening. Like walk between me and the fire, you could see the outline of the bear on my tent. We had our little Boy Scout knives out, ready to. I don't know what we were going to do, but that day I went out to take a leak, and I walk out in the woods and I hear this guy yelling, "Hey kid, look out, there comes a bear." And sure enough, some bear is running right towards me. And I can't stop peeing. And here comes this bear. And it ran, just like you said, it went right by me. I mean, right by me, 20 yards. And then just like you said, powered up the side of this hill. And then turned around and looked at me, grunted a few times and kept going. But I will never forget that.
I was going to say, you have to remember that for the rest of your life. Yeah.
That was, and those bears, they just get real acclimated. You get in those campgrounds. There was a bear that was digging up an outhouse all day. People down there with pots and pans trying to get the bear out of there. And they couldn't move it. It's like, forget you. I don't care. I'm going to dig this up. I don't know if you had bears that get that acclimated.
So there's a lot of campgrounds like right around the shop that people do feed the bears. So, I mean, it's called Petticoat Campground, which is up in Cedar Run. My friends stay there all the time. And it is not uncommon to see just a bear just walking through hunting for marshmallows or something like that. And they're not really like looking to attack you. It's just a big old black bear that's pretty much looking for sugar or some type of food for people to feed it. And the state comes down, gets it out of there. But yeah, they do. When I first moved up here, it was weird to see them, and now it's just like it's just like seeing a dog or something outside without any of them.
So you don't get nervous when they get close like that. You're like, okay, just calm as
can
be.
If they have their cubs, I do get pretty frightened. But if they don't, then it's pretty good.
I was just out in Alaska last week. I was in an area called Haines, pink salmon fishing, and they told us you guys will see some bears. First day didn't see anything. Second day, 300 yards downstream, there was a bear coming. You're like, okay. And then we lost sight of it. And next thing we know, it rounds this rock that's sticking out in the river, and it's right there. And I tell you what, Alaskan brown bear, their heads are like the size of trash can lids. And it was awe and fear all wrapped into one. I don't know if you've ever felt it, but it's like, it's coming my way. I need to get my butt out of this river and make room for this thing. But they just ignore you. They walk right by.
Really?
Yeah, they did. They're looking. As a matter of fact, I watched him grab a salmon, run into the woods, eat it, come back out, and then he just walks right by us, kind of looked at us once, not that you should just stand there, but they were much more interested than the salmon. But that fear and awe feeling was, I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because I'm going to Alaska here shortly. Just
Are you?
More of a vacation, not really fishing. If I could sneak in fishing, I'm definitely going to do it. But I get used to black bears around here, so I hope I don't do that if I do see a brown bear or something out there.
Well, I think the coho are starting to run right now. A buddy of mine up there just sent me a picture of a coho that he caught. So
my fiance wants me to do other things, but hey,
man, come on.
I need to do that thing, I'm gonna
fiance. Well, wait till you get married.
Yeah, yeah, true. We're not married yet, so I'm just kidding.
Yeah, what's that? There's a Brad Paisley song about hey, I love you, but I love fishing more. And it's nice. It's nice knowing you.
All the time. Yeah, I'm trying to think of that song and name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I played that for my wife just to see if she thought it was funny.
She didn't.
She did laugh. Yeah, we've been married a long time. So what's your most epic catch your own personal best epic catch?
For trout, I would say
Yeah.
it's probably, I think sent you that picture. So hopefully, if you do post them on this podcast or
I
whatever,
will.
he was
Yeah.
probably around 22 inches. And like I said, I love fishing like subsurface nymphs, but of course it was a night the March Browns were hatching and I saw him rising on the far side. And I had pretty much just a mono setup that with a 10-foot 3 weight, which I was like, I don't think I'll ever bomb this out there. But sure enough, after about 100 casts, I probably looking just terrible trying to do it. I got it out there for him, and he took that, and that was one of the highlights of my
Wow.
trout career up here.
Now, on a mono setup, so you're fishing a dry fly on a mono setup? Did I have
Yeah,
that right?
and if you ever tried to cast that, it is very, very difficult. I would not recommend.
Yes.
But yeah, I
Yes.
it out to him. I think the wind behind me helped me out a lot, but I'd like to think that
Ah,
was my cast.
but you got it. You got that fly right over him, huh? What were you upstream? Tell me about the cast.
I was a little upstream of him, and yeah, I was trying to bomb it maybe 5 feet above his head, and it was
Yeah.
a little windy that day, so I was just like, all right, I just got to keep working this out there, and if anybody's watching me from the bank or downstream or upstream, I probably look terrible, and I should never guide in my life, but I finally did get it out to him, and it was as soon as it landed, I was like, all right, this is the cast for him, and floated right down, and he took it, and it was a heck of a
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. What X were you using? Do you remember?
I usually keep it between 4 and 5X. So I would like to say with a March Brown, I was probably using 4.
Oh, good. Okay. So
Yeah.
you got him in. Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool.
got him in. Yeah, and I was screaming upstream for my brother
Were
to
you?
come take a picture. Yeah, it's just, and then I told him the story, and he's like, "You didn't get it out there." I was like, "I promise you, I did," but it was a good guess to win.
Oh, he didn't believe you actually made that cast?
No, he didn't believe I made that cast at all. No. So I have 2 older brothers, and growing up, it was pretty much just us fighting to see like who was the better fisherman. And so
Really?
my oldest brother doesn't do anything with the fishing world, but my middle brother is actually a guide out in Montana.
No,
So
nice.
yeah, when he comes back here, we like to have little like fishing derbies against each other, so you can catch the most fish, biggest fish.
Were you guys super competitive growing up, just in general?
Oh yeah. Sports, I mean, we were on the same baseball team. Somebody had to have a better batting average, who had the most home runs. And now
Really?
since we're older and don't do sports, it's pretty much fishing. Yeah.
Oh, now you've just translated everything into a new competitive sport, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. It's like I try to like not count fish, but I know that like I'm fishing with someone else. I'm like, I'm just going to keep track and just, and if you got more, the guy will say, how'd you do? I'm like, oh, I did pretty good.
Oh
You don't
yeah.
want to say, I got more,
If
unless
you
it's your
break
brother.
then you can drop it on that. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's your brother, then I would rub it in. But if it's just a friend, I was like, no, I did pretty good.
Yeah. Like before I moved up this area, I came up this area, I believe when I was about 5 years old. And we always had pretty much just saying like came back and who caught the most fish at the end of the week. And before
Yeah.
cell phones, it was, yeah, we caught this many fish and then nobody believed you. And then once cell phones came out, you had to snap a picture of every single fish. So
Is that right?
they believe-
Proof.
yeah.
Proof. Man, that's funny. Oh my gosh. What's your most embarrassing story as a guide?
Has to be a time that I fell. So I'm a, and it probably sounds stupid. I don't like wearing studs in my boots. And that's just because I jump in and out of the boat and every time. And if
Yeah,
I'm
you don't want to.
walking, I refuse to put studs in. I'm just like, I don't need them. I'm quick on my feet. I'm going to be 30 this year. So if I fall, I fall. But I've fallen quite a bit this
Have
year.
you? Okay.
I'm falling off the boat trying to net, leaning over. One person leaned the other way and then I shot off. I've, pretty much face planted maybe 5 to 10 times this year. So that's always a hard one to come up from. Of course, they're like, oh, no, it's okay. But in the inside their mind, they're probably laughing at me. So.
Well, but if you're trying to net their fish, I got to believe that the tip just got a little bigger. If you're
Oh,
following
I got the fish too. Yeah.
And you
I
got the
netted
fish
it and
too.
went straight down. Yeah.
You come up with a fish with water drenched all over your hats floating down the river, but you got their fish.
Waiter's soaked. I wear a Richardson chest box. So, I mean, that thing's just leaking water the whole day. But no, I would probably say that's my most embarrassing stories.
Well, okay. That's, amount of fishing that you do. I got to imagine that, I fell this year. I was out in Colorado. I wiped out and fell hanging on my rod with 2 hands and landed the fish, and took the fish off. Oh, my rod came apart. I thought it just came separated. I was like, no, dummy, you broke your rod. So day over, It was a nice recon too, speaking of Orvis. But, Orvis got it back to me in 30 days. I wrote him and said, look, I got a trip to Alaska. I need this thing back. And they're, well, I don't know. I said, well, just do your best. And they FedExed it overnight. I got my rod. I don't know if they do that very often because that costs some extra money, but they did. They sent it to me and I got it back the day before I left. I was
So
impressed.
now they're doing, and I'm not putting Orvis up on a pedestal because I work in a shop, but they are doing now that they have like just like plenty of like separate blanks. So say if you had like a Helios, a Recon, a Clearwater, you said I broke the butt section, I broke the tip, that you can usually send you that out within
just mail it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why they wanted me to send the whole rod for some reason. I took a picture of it and they wanted to see the whole thing. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, that is weird.
They did a nice job.
Yeah, but not more the snap one this year, but I've had a lot of clients break my rods and you can usually get a piece for it pretty darn quick. So
can you?
Yeah, that's off to them.
Man, I was talking to some different rod manufacturers at the Denver show and they're like, man, these warranties are killing us. I mean, they're spending a major chunk of their production on warranty rods. That's gotta just be a ton of money out the door.
Oh yeah.
But it helps all us, I've broken, I think every rod I've had, I've broken,
Yeah.
Not in car doors.
Yeah. I'm breaking them in the past. This year I haven't so much, but my clients have. And because I use a lot of Encounters and Clearwater, so it's not terrible, but I have broken a couple high-end rods that, you pretty much just want to sit there and shed a tear. You're like, oh, why'd I do that? But they do get it out to you pretty quick.
Well, without the warranty, I don't think I'd spend $600 on a fly rod if I didn't get a warranty. I just wouldn't.
Oh, no. No.
Because eventually you're going to break the thing, if you fish a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I think most companies have because I know Orvis is 25-year, but I think they're all kind of up in that same general area for their warranty. So it's super awesome.
Yeah.
So, we are clumsy anglers. So
right. Well, we broke three 6-weight, or 12 of us went fishing in Alaska, and we broke 3 6-weight rods. So you do not want to fish for pink salmon with a 6-weight. I mean, you can, but we broke 3 rods, and it wasn't because somebody grabbed it up high or anything. They just broke.
So
on a big fish.
What's the recommended rod for salmon fishing?
We were using 8-weights. Now, I'm not an expert, but an 8-weight seemed to get them in,
Okay.
And finally, and I did not break my 8-weight. So
nice.
There we go.
So
anyway,
6-weight.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd bring a 6-weeker for salmon. It's not big enough. So, all right. So take me through the seasons a little bit. Tell me about your hatch chart and maybe some fly patterns that you like. I'm sure like every area, you've got probably some local patterns that do really well. What do you think?
We do have some local patterns, like some attractor flies, but usually once April hits, pretty much like the middle to end of April, you get the Hendricksons that start hatching up here.
Yeah.
And then from there, you go Hendricksons, March Browns, Gray Foxes, the Drakes.
How big are your March Browns?
We sell them here between 10s and 12s. I have seen them a little bigger where you might need like an 8, but 10s and 12s seem to do the trick. And that goes from pretty much the first couple weeks in May. It all depends. Like if we get so about 2 years ago it started and I got super pumped up to guide for them. Cause a fish she's out on top of the water. It's like candy to them. And then we just got a high water, just absolute flood that wiped that all out. And then I was like, all right, on to the next thing, or streamers or nymphs. But so we have the March Browns, then the Gray Foxes come along, and then you get into the Drakes. So we do get a green drake hatch up here. It's not as big or awesome as Penns Creek does, but if you hit it at the right time here, you look up in the air and that's all you see. So
okay, what time of year is the green drake hatch?
That's usually the end of May, early June.
Oh, it is. Okay, is that pretty regular, or do you find that varies a lot based on weather and stuff?
Yeah, based on weather, it might come a little earlier, it might come a little later.
Okay.
But the past 2 years have been pretty much right in that time frame.
Huh. That's super cool. What's your favorite green drake pattern?
So we have a green drake spinner here that a gentleman ties for us that lives up kind of towards the Wellsboro area. And actually the tail section, he does it with a porcupine quill.
Okay.
And
how did he get those?
Yeah.
Pulled him out of a dog's face.
How he got that, yeah. Well, he is a bird hunter, and he probably did get him out of the dog's face, actually. But he ties it up, and that thing floats like a cork on the water and everything like that. And
really?
It's an awesome pattern.
So a porcupine quill, you could probably use moose mane That would probably be pretty good. But
Yeah.
porcupine, so porcupine floats really well?
Yeah, the quill does
The
float really
quill,
well.
yeah. Huh.
hmm
Okay. It's a little sharp in the
Yeah,
end,
I
though, I
don't know.
guess.
I don't know where he got the idea from or what so, but he brought it into me one day. And I looked at it and I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Just try it with the green drakes." I was like, "Okay, whatever." And yeah, I threw it out there, and yeah, it worked really well for me. So,
Wow. Say more about the pattern. Maybe you can take a picture of it and send to me. I'd love to show that to folks.
oh yeah, I could
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, there was a couple that I wanted to take a picture of. So, like another one that is an awesome pattern that not a lot of people know about, and maybe this podcast will blow it up, but it's called the Pine Creek Special. Uh,
Ah,
so it's an attractor pattern that a gentleman named Russ Mowry tied it in the like mid 50s. And it pretty much imitates a March brown, a gray fox, a drake. It's just a big, bulky fly. I'm not sure like how like the materials and everything that you use on it,
yeah.
but I'll send you a picture of that again. But it has a yellow body, just a big bulky dry fly, and that has saved me on a lot of days where I'm
Is
just like,
that
what the
right?
heck are they taking? I mean, they could be taking small little olives, and you throw that out there, and they'll come up and hit it. So
Is it like a foam attractor thing or what is it?
it's not foam. Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture. I'm actually down in the fly shop. If you want me to, I can walk over there and grab you one real quick.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look later. Okay, so green drake. Sorry, I keep interrupting you because I got all these questions about these,
No, you're all
these
good. So
hatches.
yeah, once the green drakes come through, you get a little brown drakes, and then you start to get in the slate drakes. And the slate drakes are a hatch that we get up here that pretty much start in June, and they go all summer long. And they usually start off, like I said, like in the beginning of June. And I'm hoping to see them once we get more water out there. And yeah, I could start floating again because that is a pattern that those fish just seem to destroy out there when they're on the water. So.
All summer. You've got a mayfly hatch all summer, huh?
Mhm.
Wow, no kidding. How big are they? Slate drakes.
They range from like, we have them in size 12, 14s, and 16s, but I usually go with the 12 like all year long.
Really? A bigger. Would you say
hmm
your fish are super selective? Where are they in the selective range?
It all depends how much pressure they have. So if you go outside of the stretch and just fish for them where they haven't really been seeing a lot of action, if you just throw something over their head to the point where it's like, all right, that looks like a fly floating down to them and it has like the right silhouette underneath, they'll probably come up and hit it. But I mean, if that fish got hooked a couple times and it's pretty much staying on its home down there, then I've had a couple that I've seen them rise and you could float over their head and you'll just see them come up, look at it, and go back down. You have to have the most perfect presentation and fly for them.
And other times it doesn't seem to matter so much. Is that right?
Other times, if you're upstream or downstream of the stretch where nobody's really been hitting a lot, like it's kind of just places that you need to know where to go where there hasn't been a lot of pressure. Yeah, if you just throw something over top that fish's head and get the right drift, you can usually get them.
So you can get away from the crowds if you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, big time. And if you want to come in the shop and just say like, "Hey, like, where's the spot?" We're pretty good at telling you where to go. I mean, we won't give you away our secret spots, but we will try to get you away from the crowd where you can get in the fish and hopefully be
Yeah.
alone out there.
Yeah. I mean, as a fly shop guy, it's got to be kind of a real catch-22 because you want people to come back and have a good day out there, but you don't want to give away all your honey holes to everybody because
Yeah,
then they're not going to be a honey hole anymore. So, I mean,
exactly.
how do you hear? Because I've had other fly shop owners say, no, we just tell them. We just tell them. We tell them everything we know. In other shops, I don't know. I feel like out west, maybe a little bit more like that. Maybe it's just more water, bigger water. I don't know. But how do you kind of deal with that?
So it's pretty big water around here. I definitely won't give away every single spot that I have because a lot of it is I ask like the homeowner, like, "Hey, like I fish here all the time. I float through. Do you mind if I park here and just
Yeah.
sneak in, and attack this water?" And they're pretty nice if you ask them. They're just like, "Yeah, don't leave trash and stuff like that." But there are some spots where if I do see people like over time, like going into it, I will say like, "Hey, go up there." Like there's not much people and you can get away from it. But if there's
Okay.
spots where I'm floating through and I don't see a soul, I'm like, all right, this is kind of my spot to go to.
Yeah. Okay. So, I just need to like track your cell phone where you are, and then I'll know where to go.
You
Right.
could do, yeah, I guess you could do that. But we are in an area where there's no service up here, which is an
Oh,
awesome
okay. Can't
get
do
away
that then.
from. So yeah, you usually can't find me if I'm out there.
My wife's got this thing on my phone. It's called Home or something, and it tells her exactly where I am, but it eats up my battery like crazy. So I turn it off when I'm out of where I can't. I got an older phone, so it just dies like by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I just turn it off, and I don't know.
We all
That's
use
it.
that excuse before. I'm just
Do
kidding.
what? Yeah,
It
exactly.
drains the battery life, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a good excuse. No, but Margie, if you're listening, it's really true. It does drain my battery. It really does. Don't listen to what we're saying here. So what are some of the things that you always preach to your anglers when you're taking fishing for them to be successful?
Pretty much. So I get a lot of newbies, and then I do get a lot of people that I've guided over time that come back to me. But the newbies, we pretty much just stick with it. Like the whole 10 to 2 method, like a lot of people, I watch them bring their fly rod almost all the way down where it's hitting the back of the water and bring it back up. And you're like, no, 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 you don't have to do that. Just bring it back. So I preach just pretty much like basic casting and yeah, just know how to read your water, break it down. So like that's another reason that I love like tight line nymphing because beforehand, like especially when you're on the boat, like you're just doing pretty much just indicator rigs the whole time. But
Okay.
if I can jump them out of the water and pretty much anchor up where you can look at a riffle and you're like, all right, this spot's this deep, this spot's this deep, and you can switch them over and they can kind of do their own like method with how deep they want to get it with tight line, and then that's one thing that I enjoy
Okay.
doing with. And that's another reason why I like nymphing. So
All right. So are you with all these mayflies going on all the time? I mean, are you on subsurface quite a bit still?
it's pretty much pretty 99% of my fishing.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I love fishing nymphs and streamers. If I do get a client where he's like, "Hey, I primarily want to throw a dry flies thing," it's a slow day for me, but
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay.
But I mean, it's kind of something that like Joe Humphreys, which he comes up to this area a lot, which is cool to see him come in. But
Oh,
was in one of his videos where it's like a fish eats 80% underneath the water. Like that's his diet. So I just pretty much took that into my brain where I was like, all right, I can catch them on nymphs even though they're rising up, and just something I kept trying to break down year after year. And I think I perfected it, but I mean, I'm still learning every day. So
yeah. Huh. What are some of your tips on tight lining? Like that's got to be kind of hard to teach.
it is. I think the hardest thing to teach is the cast because a lot of people want to break down just like your regular because you're using just like a big mono rig. But they
Yeah.
want to go with like the 10-2 method, like bring it back, and you're using the weight of the fly, so it's pretty much just like a wrist flip out there. But yeah, use that cider as like an anchor, like kind of if you're not hitting the water, just drop that color down a little bit, add more tippet until you're bumping bottom. A lot of people I see drag the flies through instead of just following them down. So yeah, just keep the same pace with your flies going down through the water, and you'll have
You
more
don't like
success.
to drag it. You don't like to pull it through the water.
I don't. Sometimes at the end of my drift, I like to play out the swing, especially if they're coming up. If they see that swing as like a bug
Right.
rising, I usually get strikes that way. But
So when you were going to tight line or when you're going to tight line a riffle, like how do you think about it? Is this like you've got your swim lanes you want to hit, or how do you think about it?
yeah, definitely just break down the lane. So like I'll start at like the front of the riffle, just keep sneaking it out, make sure that you're hitting bottom. You're definitely going to lose a lot of flies, but
Yeah.
that's in general. And yeah, you just start at the front and then just keep working your way out, out, and out.
Huh. What's your setup for tight line? It's mono rig, so just explain what that is.
Yes. So I use Maxima Chameleon. It's about 15 pound, and then I break it down to 12 and then to 10 to my cider. It all depends what water I'm fishing, but like on Pine Creek, like for example, I do about a 30-foot leader.
A bit past your cider, you got 30 feet past. Is that what you're saying, or before your
No,
cider?
I build my own leaders. So to my
Okay.
cider, it's 30 feet. And then off
Okay,
of that,
gotcha.
depending on the water that I'm fishing, that's when I'll add onto the tippet, depending on how deep I think it is and everything like that.
How much cider are you typically using? Do you change that during the day, or do you just go with however many feet you have out?
I usually go with how many, I try to keep it between like 2 to 3 feet of cider.
Oh,
And then
okay,
depending
interesting.
on like, if I'm teaching like an older person that doesn't have like the best eyesight, then I'll just try to tie like just little like a blood knotting and leave the tag ends on for them so they could see that a little better if it twitches.
Okay. Are you using some of that cider wax that's bright colors, that High and Dry sells that stuff? Are you starting to see that?
So I haven't played around with that yet. We actually sell it in the shop, but I use it's just the tactical nymph cider material that Orvis makes.
Yeah, okay.
So they sell it in 4X, 2X, and I think this year they're coming out with 4, which I don't know if I'll use the 4, but I like the 2X. And yeah, I believe it's, now you're going to make me think. It's orange, white, and green. So yeah, usually in the white, because I feel like that's a lot harder for people to see, especially on like a brighter day. That's kind of where I'll cut it and then just connect the the green and the orange.
Do you find that people struggle with really detecting strikes because, you're hitting the bottom all the time, or they can't see just like a slight change in the bow of your line? Like, how do you talk them through that?
It's tough. It's it's a very tough thing to teach. But yeah, definitely hitting bottom's gonna mess them up a little bit. But once they get the hang of it, and pretty much when they get their first like official fish to strike, and you get a certain feel of that, then you can kind of get a sense of what's a fish and what's bottom. And they're
They get
all barbless.
excited.
So if you do exactly, they're all barbless. So if you do catch a rock, you can pretty much just it's a rock, pretty much pull upstream, and then you can usually get out.
What kind of flies do you like for tight line?
I'm a big stonefly guy. I mean, there's stoneflies in this creek pretty much year round out there.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like Pat's rubber legs, they're a pretty
Oh,
much good
really?
for me. Yeah, brown and black chenille or like a ginger chenille, I'm a big fan of. And then I'll change up my sizes. Like I try to, my biggest is probably size 8, but then I go like the 10s, the 12s. I tie them. And
Wow.
then, did you ever hear of the Lively Legs guys?
Uh-uh.
So Lively Legs is a company that's based here in PA, and they tie a fly called the Double Trouble. It's a pretty cool stonefly pattern, and I think they go from like sizes 10, 12, and 14. So I do one of them on the bottom, and then up top, it's normally like a waltz worm, which if you're familiar with them,
Yeah.
caddis nymph. I like Frenchies. That's one of my go-tos, but I'll change up the
Okay.
hot spot collar, usually like a pink, orange, or yellow.
Okay. Any Paragons?
I'm not a big Perdigon fan.
Really? How
I
come?
could be. I just don't have much confidence in them. I fished them a couple
Really?
times and I have caught fish, but I always find my way back to that waltz worm. And I
No
usually just
kidding.
tie them up in different colored dubbins, like olive, gray, tans, and that works really well for me.
How thick do you tie your waltz worms?
I like a pretty thin body.
A thin body. Okay.
Yeah, thin body, depending on what materials I'm using. Like thin, but a little buggy, like just pretty much like I like tying them in muskrat. So a little bit of that
Okay.
sticking out. And
Yeah. Thin, but not tied tightly. You want some of that fuzzy stuff floating
exactly.
around. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The worst thing, like if I see a big bulky one, I'm just like,
Not
I'll
gonna
still,
really.
yeah, but I don't think it sinks as well. But yeah, with like the waltz worms, I don't like a lot of hot spots. Like people like the sexy waltz worms and stuff like that.
Mm,
Like a plain Jane, just bland one, and that works really well for me. Like
so a
either
little
a
more muted.
silver or like a copper bead. That's pretty much my hot spot.
Huh. Interesting. You ever throw any clink hammer style flies?
I have not. The other guides that fish here all the time do, and it's
Do
just
they?
it's something I got to have faith in. And I fished them
Yeah.
before, but it's just not usually my go-tos. But yeah, the other guides, John and Rob, they fish them a lot.
Met a guy who's a rod builder, and that's all he fishes. He only fishes dry fly, and he makes bamboo rods, and he only fishes clink hammers. And I'm like, man, I gotta tie these up and see
Hey, if
what
they're
the story is.
yeah,
He's probably missing. If he's not tightline nymph and he's in Pennsylvania, he's missing out because
yeah,
everybody tightlines out there. You go
yeah,
out west,
big
people
thing.
are like tightline. They're almost like, what's that? You people out west, it just hasn't really caught on out there. So
Yeah, I want to say my brother, well, he guides out there, and that's primarily what he does. And he said he brought it to his outfitters out there, and now everybody does it. He said it before it was
really,
dropper, and now he said, yeah, a lot of people do it that way. So
so he's taught his guide buddies.
exactly, yeah, I just think it's an easier way to catch fish. You get the flies down a lot quicker. You can't make long casts with it, which kind of stinks. But yeah, if you know how to break apart water and how to read water, it's very effective.
Super interesting. All right, so let's finish the hatch chart. Where did we end up? Did we finish it? Maybe we already did. We got to slate
Pretty
drakes.
much, yeah. Like the slate tricks is the last big one, and then once the fall comes around here, we get the October caddis hatch.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Mhm.
How big are those?
We sell patterns here from Full and Mill that are a lot bigger than what they actually are. I'd probably put them in like the 14 range. But yeah, some of the patterns that people coming and buy, they're like size 8. And I'm like, they're not that big out there. Because it's a pretty
Okay.
big hatch. But I mean, if those bugs were that big out there, yeah, people thought the world was ending. So
if you're throwing patch rubber legs all day, have you got some stoneflies that are hatching? You got to if they're eating those
Yeah.
underneath, right?
Yeah. So we get like the early black stone that hatches pretty early for us. That's usually like end of March, early April. And then, yeah, we get the Yellowstone hatching like late May, early June.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. Well, hey, I did want to shift gears a little bit about your background because you said you grew up in the Reading area with some
Yeah.
competitive brothers. How did you end up, running being a guide out here in this amazing spot in Pennsylvania? How'd that happen?
So it kind of just fell into my lap. So I was a diesel mechanic before I moved up here in Reading for Penske.
Yeah.
And then my buddies, I worked third shift, which the graveyard shift, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. It was rough on my body. But in the morning, my buddies were like, hey, like, you want to go fishing with us? And I was like, yeah, sure. So they just watched me fly fish and they always wanted to learn. So I taught them down that way, not really being a guide, but then my brother was up here. So I always joked with him. I said, oh, this guiding stuff would be easy to do for a living. And then he's like, well, I'm moving out to Montana. He's like, if you would like to come up and move up this way, he's like, you could try it. And I did. And I didn't think I'd be the head guide, but new owners took over and they asked me to do it. And here I am. So
No kidding. How about that? What do you like about guiding?
I think honestly, the best feeling is catching somebody their first fish on a fly rod. It's just, I mean, some people shake like they're a little kid when they bring it in, and just seeing their eyes, their smile, everything like that. Because you can catch fish on a spinning rod, but something about a fly rod, fighting it, watching that drag shoot out. If it's a big fish, it's something unforgettable. Your first fish.
Hearing that reel scream a little bit.
Oh my word, yeah. A lot of the new reels, you're not really getting that new reel, that loud reel scream, but I still keep it with like the clear waters and the batting kills that you still, hear
Right.
go.
Click.
So,
I love that
Yep.
sound. So if fly fishing disappeared for you tomorrow, what would you be doing?
Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I would probably go back to mechanical background. I did enjoy that. It's just I love being outside. So when the opportunity hit me where I could be doing this for a living, it was just a no brainer for me that I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Really? You like the mechanical stuff, huh?
Yeah, I've been wrenching since I was about 15 years old.
Wrenching.
Started at a golf course working on golf carts, then grew to cars and big diesel trucks at the end there. But it is something I enjoy doing.
Do you ever restore stuff like old cars?
That's something that's in the future. Mustangs are my favorite vehicle, and if I can find an older one that I could restore, it's going to be a quick yes.
What have you got in mind? What would be a cool car to restore?
So like I love that like Ford Mustangs, like like 60s to 70s. Like if I could restore one of them, that would be the highlight of my life.
I heard you can sell those for over 100,000 if you restore one. Those old
I
Mustangs.
would probably keep it, but if I could restore two, then I would definitely sell one for that kind of money.
Did you want to keep it?
Yeah, for any of those cars like Mustangs. I know the old Volkswagen vans, I think, are making a comeback too.
Yeah.
I've seen them on the road. So if you could restore one of them, that would probably
be cool. My buddy's restoring a Corvair, and I keep telling him, when you're done restoring this, you have a Corvair. Did you know that? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the family sedan. He's like, yeah, I know. That's what I want. Okay, fine. So what do you think is the number one skill that a guide has to have?
Patience.
Patience.
Especially for me, because it is a lot of newbies. And I know like a lot of like people out west, you probably get people that have been fly fishing for years. But when they come up to this area, it's primarily vacation. And then they see we do fly fishing out of here. And they're like, you know what? I want to try that. So you get a lot of people where half the day is trying to break down the cast for them. And you got to have patience. And fly fishing has definitely taught me that in my life to have. And I'm grateful for it. I would have to say patience and definitely knowing your water. Because, I mean, there's a lot of bugs out there and there's a lot of hatches. And if you don't know what's coming off, it's going to be a rough day for you.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say being a therapist would be the number one skill, but
that's I have a few people that come up that I think they just book me to talk and complain about their life. But if you're paying, I'm going to listen and act like I'm into it.
Yeah, exactly. Give them some advice.
Yeah, exactly.
So one thing I wanted to ask you earlier, but I just thought of, you say you love to teach people how to read water. Give me your Ethan Albright philosophy on reading water.
So like Pine Creek has a lot of like slate ledges in here and big boulders. So you definitely got to know like a lot of those fish like to tuck themselves underneath the slate ledges. They like to be right behind the boulders. I find a lot of bigger ones behind the boulders. So you primarily got to break that down. And Pine Creek, it's such a big, I'm going to call it a river because that's what pretty much it is, even though we call it creek. You could walk out in that, and if you're fishing in like a foot of water, sometimes you might catch a fish, but primarily they're going to be out there in the deeper stuff behind the structure. So yeah, definitely got to know where you got to cast. And that took me a while once I moved up here. And even to this day, I'm still finding where fish are laying where I'm like, how the heck did I catch that fish there? And then I go back to it and there he is again. So
Do they ever electroshock up there?
they did up in the Canyon. Because did I talk about the Grand Canyon?
No.
So we have the PA Grand Canyon up here, which is, oh my gosh, it's beautiful if you ever had the chance to come up and see it. But there's two state parks on either side of it. There's Colton State and then Leonard Harris. And they did do a shock up in that canyon, and they actually found our brown trout up that way, which that is 40 some miles from us.
Wow.
Yeah.
They move.
Mm-hmm. But they never did any shocking down in this area. Not that I know.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Some guys I've talked to who have I did a show on the South Fork, and the guy said he watched this boat, and you just cannot believe he was with the DNR out there, and he just couldn't believe, like, didn't think there'd be like a 25-inch trout in that skinny little water there, and he learned a lot about where trout are hiding by shocking up fish. So
yeah. Well, that's why when I walk out to a riffle too, that's why I like to pick apart, because like I see a lot of people that walk straight in and they go just for the heart of the riffle, and you could catch fish that way definitely. But I want to say it's a George Daniels video that I watched when I was a little kid, and he just said start off with the front of the riffle and just keep working your way out there. Do like 5 casts, sneak out a couple feet, 5.
Yeah.
If I'm teaching people that, I mean, we catch a lot of fish, and I feel like they really take that into their mind that that's what they need to start doing. So
be systematic. All right.
Yeah.
I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Ready? Float or wade?
I'm turning myself over to float, but it depends what I'm doing. Cause like Slate Run is another reason that I moved up here, the tributary, and I could fish that stream every day and be happy. And that's a small little stream. So wade that, but if I'm on Pine Creek, floating.
Okay. Dries, nymphs, or streamers?
I think you know my answer to that. It's going to be nymphs.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
You're Euro or indicator?
It all depends on the water. I like Euro better, but if you are on the boat, it's very tough to do that just because Pine Creek's so wide. You have to really,
Depends.
I mean, I'd be rowing my butt off all day long trying to get you to spots the tight line. So I do like indicator fishing off of that. But if you're wading, tight lining.
Okay. Fluoro or nylon?
Fluoro.
Fluoro.
Even for my dry flies, I find it to tie a lot better of a knot, and I have a lot more faith in it.
First paying job?
My first paying job? I worked at a golf course.
Doing what? Mowing grass?
I was the grass mower, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Best day of your life?
Best day of my life is when I proposed to my future wife here. That was this past May. Yeah, our first date was walking the bike trail out here, and that's where I proposed to her. So,
well, congratulations!
Yeah, hopefully she watches this. That'd be great.
And we'll all come to your wedding. Don't worry, we'll be there.
Thank you.
Just as long as you feed us dinner. Hey. Weddings are cheap, right? They don't cost very much.
I'm finding out that that's not the case.
They have a different price list. If you say it's for a wedding, we'll put this one away. Here's the one you're going to have. Mm-hmm. What do you wish you had more time to do?
Definitely just see this country. I mean, it's so stinking beautiful. I just started doing it. And like I said, I'm going to see Alaska, but definitely explore and just sightsee, which I know once you get married, it's going to be money into the house and the wedding and everything like that. But for what I have seen so far and what I hope to see, like even my brother lives out in Montana. I haven't yet to visit him out there. I would like to see that. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. If you could pay it forwards to anyone, what would you do?
That's a good one. Paying it forward.
Yeah.
Now you got me on the spot there. You made me.
I got a big thought bubble above your head right now, right?
Pay it forward.
Yeah. So you probably have a mentor. Maybe somebody who's just brought you along or showed you the ropes or something? I don't know.
That would be, he actually passed away, so I couldn't use that. But I will tell you a quick story. My first fly rod when I was about 12 years old, his name was Brian, and I did hear that he passed away not too long ago, and I wish I would have got to meet him. But
sorry.
I was out there in the heart of the riffle being just a young kid throwing spinners out there, and he was catching fish behind me, like right where I walked.
Butter.
Yeah. So I went back there and I was watching him on the bank, and he started talking to me about fly fishing. I was like, oh, it's pretty neat. And then the next year, because it was our family vacation in May, we would come up here. And the next year I came up, he had me a fly rod, and he fished with me every day. And that's pretty much who I learned from. And yeah, it kind of stinks. I know his wife's still alive, but she doesn't come up in this area because it was their vacation too.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah.
How about that?
I mean, if there was anybody in his life that wanted to learn how to fly fish, like a kid or a grandson, I would love to do that.
There you go.
Yeah, that gave me my job that I'm doing now. And yeah, I wouldn't
kidding.
get anywhere without him. Yeah.
How about that? Favorite shore lunch?
We make awesome sandwiches here, and we are known for it. So yeah, I have a gluten problem. I can't have bread, but gluten-free breads come a long way since I found this out. But yeah, we do Italian sandwiches here. We do it on ciabatta bread, and I mean, people drive hours to come and get our sandwiches, which is kind of right? Just a store in the middle of nowhere. But yeah,
well, you make them in your store right there.
Yeah, we bake off the bread. Everything's freshly cut for you right there. And this Labor Day weekend coming up, it is going to be probably maybe over 100 to 200 a day.
Okay.
So it's not fun for me when I'm in the store. I got to do that. I'm not out guiding, but yeah, he meets some interesting people.
What's your favorite place to get something to eat, maybe something to drink at the end of a day on the water?
There are a lot of good bars up here and just restaurants in general. The Hotel Manor, that is pretty much right out back from where I'm sitting right now. That's a bar and grill over there. And then it's a pretty nice hotel if people wanted to come up this area.
Yeah.
The Cedar Run Inn, which is about 5 miles up, that is more of a fancier restaurant, like a sit-down, 3-course meal. But yeah, great food in there, great bar. And then the Waterville Hotel, that is the number 3. That's about 10 miles down. And that's more of like a sandwich, kind of like bar food place. But yeah, always great people in there and always a good time.
Good answers, Ethan. Thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. How can people get in touch with you?
So you can get a hold of the shop. It's Wolf's General Store. You can give us a call. wolfsgeneralstore.com is our email address. Our social medias, well, the one that I run is Slate Run Tackle Shop on Instagram and Facebook. And I would give out my personal number, but I get way too many people calling me as it is.
Don't worry about it.
Stream conditions. So.
All right. And so Slate Run Tackle Shop is within the Wolf store.
Yeah. As soon as you walk into the store, it's a big general store up there, giftware and knickknacks. And then you come downstairs and it's a big fly shop down here.
Okay. Very good. All right. There you go, folks. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Destination Angler. Ethan, wish you extraordinary success in all your adventures to follow. It sounds like you've got a couple of them coming up, Alaska and a wife to be and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
There you go. And we'll post some of these pictures that Ethan's been talking about, and hopefully he'll send me some pictures of those local ties that we're all kind of drooling over. Those sound really cool. We'll put those on Facebook and Instagram. And you guys can come up here to this place and check it out and be super successful. Go in the store and say hi to Ethan and maybe have him guide you for a day. You can DM me or email me with comments and suggestions at shaig@destinationanglerpodcast.com. If you like the show, please share it with a buddy. Let's spread the word about the Destination Angler. As always, the music is by our Brothers Fountain. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again soon. Tight lines, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I'll go from the land to the shining sea. But I know there's more to life than what the eye can see.